Eventually, everybody becomes a bureaucrat. Hey, I am Chuck the Bureaucrat, and I have some bad news for you. And that is, you are probably working in a bureaucracy. Now, that doesn't mean that you're a bad person or the organization that you're working in is a bad organization. And it certainly doesn't mean that the YouTube artificial intelligence algorithm has finally figured out your dirty little secret. The reason I think you're probably working in a bureaucracy is because bureaucracy forms wherever resources are being distributed. Tax dollars are obviously a place that spawns bureaucracy, but by no means are they the only example. College admissions, factory overtime, even emergency room beds. They're all resources that people want and that somebody has to distribute. I argue that no matter where you work, there's some kind of resource that has to be divvied up and it is going to generate bureaucracy. I mean, let's just take the example of college admissions. In principle, a university could accept whoever they wanted. They could literally base their decision solely on how much money the parents of an applicant gave the school. They could auction off their seats to the highest bidder. Of course, somebody's going to complain because the college fills up with a lot of rich kids with no academic potential. So somebody says, you know what we need? We need a simple academic tool that ranks individual students, and then we can just draw a cut line as a standard that people have to reach. But then somebody comes along and starts complaining how that simple academic tool really measures the facts that someone has learned and not their potential to learn new facts. So they come up with an alternative college test. Some schools use one, some schools use the other, some take both, some are more interested in life experiences and they don't use either, but then they decide they want their applicants to write an essay about their life. And at the same time, the federal government is watching all this and they say, well, here's a set of rules we'd like you to be applying and we're willing to give you a nice sack of cash if you do that. Meanwhile, the college president is still trying to figure out how to make sure that his biggest donors' kids get accepted to the school. I don't know, maybe an athletic scholarship. All of this is the kind of bureaucracy that springs up around some resource. And if you look around where you work, you're going to see the same phenomenon unfold. But so what? I mean, what does it really matter to you? Well, the first reason that it matters is because for most of us, when we enter the world of work, the job we're doing doesn't seem like it's part of a bureaucracy. You're an EMT riding around in an ambulance, or you're some forest manager counting trees, or you're a martial arts instructor working in the dojo. And in this entry-level job, there's a couple of things that happen. Number one, it's pretty rewarding because you're making a difference in people's lives. Number two, you believe in what you're doing. So you advocate for supplies and equipment so that you can make an even bigger impact. And number three, because you're you get promoted. And then you get promoted again. And now you are not on the front lines anymore. You're pushing paper at a desk. You still believe in the mission. And your heart sings when you hear the stories of the successes of your organization. But you're no longer that hotshot on the front lines who's lobbying for that special piece of software that would let you predict where the next accident is going to happen. Instead, you're the guy who says no. Or you're the lady who has to fret about how fast the field offices are burning through their budgets. And you have become a bureaucrat. This mid-career transformation into bureaucracy, usually somewhere around 35 or 45, well, it surprises and it disappoints a lot of people. After all, who would expect that success and promotion would be the road that leads them to being a bureaucrat? The reason this matters is because in the middle of this pivotal moment in your career, you'll discover that there just aren't that many people who can tell you how to succeed in this brave new world. That's why I'm here, to help you be as successful as you can be, to answer your questions and help avoid surprises. Got a question, or maybe even your own hard-won lesson? Leave a comment so that we can share it with everybody else.